Thank you to all of our witnesses here today. I have a lot of great questions, but there is something else I'd like to discuss, and that is the motion I tabled to all committees and received on Friday. I cannot ignore the fact that this government is planning to hike the carbon tax another 23% come April 1st. I cannot ignore the fact that the Liberals still owe businesses more than $2.5 billion in carbon pricing revenues from the first 5 years of the program and refuse to say when the money will flow. I cannot ignore the fact that this government is cutting the financial relief it promised to small businesses in a time of high inflation, interest rates, and labor shortages. I cannot ignore the fact that according to the Superintendent of Bankruptcy, in January 2024, businesses saw a year-over-year increase in business insolvencies of 48.8%. Specifically, mining and oil and gas extraction saw a 92.9% increase in insolvencies, and professional, scientific, and technical services saw an increase of 70.6%. I cannot ignore the fact that according to Statistics Canada, November 2023 was the 5th straight month in which fewer businesses opened than closed in Canada. I cannot ignore the fact that in 2023, Mexico overtook Canada as the United States' largest trading partner. Let that sink in. I cannot ignore the fact that the Minister of Small Business stated in Sudbury last week that she would bring the concerns of small businesses about the carbon tax back here in Ottawa. And I cannot ignore the fact that the minister stated her government was lowering taxes for small businesses at the Status of Women Committee, when in fact we are seeing the exact opposite happening on April 1st. Therefore, I move that, given the federal government has been collecting carbon tax revenue from small and medium-sized businesses since 2019, that despite repeated promises to return more than $2.5 billion in promised carbon tax revenues to small businesses, the government has failed to do so, that many small and medium-sized businesses in various sectors of the Canadian economy are going insolvent, and despite the fact that 7 provincial premiers, including Liberal Premier Fury, and more than 70% of Canadians oppose another 23% carbon tax increase on April 1st. The committee called for 6 meetings to be held immediately and invite the following witnesses: the Minister of Environment and Climate Change, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Small Business, the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry, and various small and medium-sized businesses and industry representatives, and that the committee hear from witnesses the extent of the damage caused by the carbon tax on the economy, and from government officials a timeline to return money owed to small businesses and to freeze the carbon tax at its current levels and to report back to the House. I move this motion today, Mr. Chair, because I have spent a lot of time over the last number of weeks. This is the #1 thing that small businesses are talking to me about. All of us around this table are hearing the same thing from small businesses. They can't take another tax increase. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Obviously, ideologically, the Conservatives don't believe in climate change.
Today I'm wearing the tartan tie of Abbotsford. My riding in Mission Matsqui Fraser Canyon, despite whatever the Liberals say, has been impacted more by climate change than any other riding in the history of Canada. And we still have not been made whole, despite repeated promises from this government, who said that a carbon tax increase will stop wildfires and floods. That is not the case. That is not scientifically valid, the narrative coming from the Liberal Party. We're pushing for this small business study because businesses are suffering big time across Canada, and we owe it to the job creators in this country to start looking clearly at what they're doing. And there's no better committee than the Industry Committee to do that. This is an emergency, and I would like to go to a vote. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Turnbull.
Against. Against.
Mr. Gahir.
Against.
Madame Lapointe.
No.
Madame Koutrakis.
No.
Mr. Van Bynen.
No.
Monsieur Généreux.
Wait.
Mr. Perkins.
Yes.
Mr. Viss.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Monsieur Garon.
No.
Mr. Massey.
Non.
La motion est défaite. Merci.
The motion is defeated. Thank you to all. And this wraps up our 2 hours for this committee meeting. We will see you on Wednesday.